All right, so before I begin, my name is Campbell Courteau. I lead sales and business development for YUHU. What I'm going to be going through today on the topic of the discussion is streamlining property management operations and residents' experiences. So what I'm going to talk about to start is a bit about our company, sort of what we do, who we are, and who we work with in the Canadian market. And then I'll jump into a platform demo. I won't be able to go into all of our solutions, but I'm going to touch on some of the leasing and application solutions, and then touch on our tenant portal, which is a big focus for us in 2019. So from a high level, what we do and what we see ourselves as is a market-leading operations platform for residential and commercial. We have a huge emphasis on the tenant experience and leveraging technology to really improve that experience. Because at the end of the day, your customers are your tenants, and we want to make them and their experiences the best possible. Something unique about how we've come to the market, we're a relatively new company, we've only been around for about 2 years, is we co-innovate with industry leaders. So we didn't take any guessing games in building our technology. What we did is we partnered with different leaders throughout the country on different modules, and I'll talk about that in a second, throughout our platform to co-innovate and bring a solution to the market that is not only going to be used by a top player in the Canadian market, but also going to be vetted by them as well, which is really one of our huge value adds. And finally, we're all industry experts. We're our team of 8 now. We're all very passionate about real estate, and we're passionate about technology. And where real estate and technology is at today is somewhere it's never been before. There's so much investment, there's so much innovation, and we're really on that wave riding it and going to try to bring Canada up to the par that the United States are at today. So from a technology perspective, like I said, we do have an end-to-end platform focused on operations. So we have everything from smart showings, which I'll touch on today in the demo, to lead management, which is effectively a tenant CRM, to leasing and applications, which we do digitally, and we have our own e-signature tool. Automated payments, which we process credit card and PAP, and I'll talk a bit about that in a sec. Maintenance and asset management have been a huge focus for us over the past 6 months. We've partnered with Concert Properties and Green Rock, who's in the back, on some cool initiatives there. Digital inspections, another great solution we've released, which is mobile-based for both Android and iPhone. And then obviously advanced reporting. 2019 is the year of data for us. We're going to compile all of the great data points that we have as a company and make you and our customers more enabled to make better business decisions based upon it. And then obviously what we have to tie all these together is the applicant, tenant, and landlord portals. Our tenant portal is something that we see as one of our crown jewels, and I'll show you it in a bit. So it's a really big piece of that tenant experience and leveraging technology to improve that tenant experience. Finally, we white label everything. So everything we do looks and feels as if it's your own, which we know is super important for our clients because at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about improving your tenant's experience. And to be branded right from a showing to sending out maintenance notices, it's good to have that consistency throughout your communication. And that leads me to universal communication. That's a tool we have that ties everything together for communicating to tenants, for communicating internally, and to communicate broadly on a building basis or portfolio basis. So with that being said, I'll recap. We do have this leading platform in the Canadian market based on the clients we work with. Their feedback has said this, and we'll touch on that in a sec. But a huge thing for us is design and the user interface and the usability and making sure it's super intuitive for both our customers and their tenants. And so we've paired that with robust functionality. So not only is it super easy to use, it actually has the capabilities to do the things that the big players in the markets are doing today. And to touch on that, everything is mobile-first design. That is how we built it. So whether you're on a tablet, phone, computer, desktop, it'll look and feel the same and kind of change to that formatting need. We have an open API, which is something we really like to highlight because partnerships for us are critical. We do have a platform, but we can't do everything at the end of the day. So our open API has given us the ability to partner with some of the best players in the market to allow us to offer our customers some of those solutions. So with that being said, we work with a couple players on the payments front. So Stripe and RBC allow us to process credit card and PAP. We're the only company with an open live API with Landlord Web Solutions, who I'm sure a lot of you know. And we work very closely with Max Diamond and the team over there. We've recently signed a partnership with Yardi, which is extremely exciting for us because at the end of the day, we don't do anything accounting. And for us to have an open API where we can be the front end in certain situations where we may be a better fit, it's a really advantageous thing for both of us to do. Certain has been a partner for us on the credit check side, and they've been able to allow us to pull credit checks and do some stuff further than that. And the New Era is a recent partnership on the tenant portal side, where now we're going to be offering tenant insurance as soon as a tenant is onboarded in, and you can buy it directly through your device with a credit card, which is really nice. And an added value to that is that when these tenants, let's say, cancel their tenant insurance, we can notify you and you get a direct notification. So it's a really good way to audit that and understand what's going on, because I know from building owners I've talked to that people buy tenant insurance and then just scrap it because they just need to prove it up front. This is a way to keep it audited, especially in a big portfolio where you don't have the time to talk to everyone. From a customer perspective, like I said at the start, we've really co-innovated to build this platform. There was no guessing done whatsoever. Every solution along the way has been vetted by these customers. So Boardwalk was an early customer for us. Our CEO, YUHU, his family actually started Boardwalk REIT. So they were really instrumental in getting us out of those early beta days. CapREIT, we're working with them on a tenant portal project to roll out across their portfolio over the next 5 years. Concert Properties has allowed us to get into the commercial and industrial side. So we're going live with a project there for Bruce Power and them in January 2019. We're doing some awesome stuff on the preventative maintenance and asset management stuff with them, which is going to be incredible. Avenue Living, we recently went live with, who are out in Calgary. We're doing some really innovative stuff that I'm going to talk about in a sec with them on pre-screening from a showing. So right when your prospective tenant shows up at the showing, you'll know if they're approved, flagged, so you can do some more due diligence, or if they're just rejected flat out. And if they're rejected, you can cancel that booking, but that allows you to reduce the lead to lease time significantly, because when they show up, you can just have the lease ready to go and sign it on the spot. GreenRock, we have GreenRock in the back right now. They were very instrumental in helping us build out our inspections, some of our asset management tools. And the rest of these have been great partners along the way for different reasons, and we've added more since then. So with that being said, I'm going to hop into a quick demo. Like I said, I won't be able to go through everything, but I'm going to highlight some of our leasing processes, and then I'm going to touch on our tenant portal. So this is our, as you can see, first of all, we can white label everything, so everything looks and feels as if it's your own. You give us your hex codes for your colors, you give us your logo, we set you up, and it is really nice from that perspective. So this is your dashboard. Since it's demo data, there's nothing there right now, but basically what you typically see there is your total unit count, your pending applications, upcoming showings, yearly income. And then on the left side here, what you'll see is an array of modules. We don't necessarily always sell the full platform as one thing. People like to pick and choose. Some will go leasing, some will go inspections, and then kind of expand as they go. But this gives you an idea of what our full capacity is, from insights, so everything from reporting, to applications, to rent roll, to maintenance. That's where all your inspections would be, and et cetera. But where I'm going to focus today is on the leasing and applications front. The reason I just opened this workflows module is because this is a really unique thing we built with Avenue Living, who have 7,500 units in Calgary and have rolled us out and are doing this today. So what the rule builder does, it allows you to pick certain properties in your portfolio and actually build out specific rules. So when I say a rule, I mean if their credit score is less than, let's say, 600, if their rent to income is a certain level, if they're above a certain age or below a certain age. These can flag applicants, deny applicants, and approve applicants before they actually do the showing, which is really nice. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you that in practice. I have a pretty lenient rule with everything under 800, or not lenient, under 800 and under 80 is going to be flagged, so you'll see how that works in a sec. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up what is called our booking and showings module. So effectively what you see here, this comes from our booking link, and you can embed our booking link on your website in a property, or if you have a partnership with Landlord Web Solutions, we have an open API where if an individual clicks on the property they want to view, this is where they'll be led. Your logo will still be there, and it basically gives them a very open table-esque sort of experience to book a time. What we can do in the back end is then align your showing preferences to your leasing agents assigned to certain properties, and then you can have a macro sort of property timing view as well. And we have integration with G Suite. So if your leasing agents have G Suite, Google Calendars, we're finalizing our Outlook one shortly. Basically, right when a booking happens, if there is something at that time, it won't allow them to book it. But if not, it'll actually populate an event in their calendar without having any approval, which is really nice. So I'll jump into this really quick. So let's say this individual wanted to go see a showing on the 6th next week, 1 p.m., 1 bedroom plus den. You'll see if there is availability. So in my calendar, there is clearly, it'll say you're in luck. There is availability on December 6th. Please confirm your slot. I'm sure a lot of you have used OpenTable, very similar. And then this brings them to here, which basically creates a lead card. So I'm just going to throw in my info really quick. And so what this does is once I get this going, it's going to send a calendar invite to the booking agent. It's going to send an email to the prospective tenant as a reminder. And it'll also send, I'm a bit older than that. Let's go with the 70s, good years. And basically what's going to happen is they'll get an email, but they're also going to get a text. So this, hi Campbell, this is an automated reminder for your showing at the Building Show Towers. Here's the time. We look forward to meeting with you. And if you have any questions, the leasing agent's number will be in there, which is really nice. And then we do that 24 hours in advance as well. So it really keeps down that showing missing percentage, which is great. So what I'll do really quickly here is we're going to get an email in a second. Sorry, I just have my work email open. But basically what's going to happen is an email is going to come through, and I'm going to be in the tenant shoes. And the prospective tenant will get an email saying, this is the showing time, this is the location, this is your leasing agent. And underneath it, it's going to say, click to apply now. And this is our pre-application module, which is really neat and pretty innovative, where that rule-based workflow that I talked about will be in effect. So when they go through the application, it'll auto run a credit check. It'll auto go through everything they have. And based on the parameters that we had in the workflow, it'll let you know if it's approved, flagged, or rejected. So right here. So this is the email that they'll receive. Campbell, your showing is confirmed at the Building Show. Down here's the time. If they want to add it to their calendar, no worries, they can do that. But I'm going to actually copy this link, and I'm going to show you how they can pre-apply and go through that flow. So bear with me for a second. So when this prospective tenant goes to here, and to highlight, I just want to show you what this kind of looks like on iPhone. So no matter what device they're on, this is a mobile view. This is an iPhone. They can do this on it. So if they were just out and they just got the email, they can just get their application going right away. I'm going to show you in the computer view just because it's easier to see. But the first thing we ask is, do you have the key things you need to complete an application in front of you? Current address, occupation details, personal references, landlord reference, proof of income, proof of identity. If so, and as you can see, we have confetti. We really like to celebrate and make it fun at YUHU. We have emojis along the way. They'll be brought to this legal sort of verbiage. So basically this gives them the chance to say, yes, I'm willing to get a credit check run. This is a legally binding application, and we're good to go. So from here, what's going to happen is they'll have an opportunity to add a co-tenant. What happens if they add a co-tenant is an application will be sent to them, and they can fill it out as well online. If not, you can do it in person, and I'll show you that in a second. Second question we ask is around dependents, occupants, grandparents, children, sort of thing. For the sake of the demo, we won't go into there. And then we ask for their birthday, which is needed for the credit check, along with their address. And we also see if they want to take a photo. On my computer where I was going to do the demo, I had a photo of myself, but maybe I can, oh, never mind, I won't do that. It's not my computer. So if they do want to upload a photo, it's nice for that personal touch. When the leasing agent goes, they know who they are. They know what they look like. It's kind of the Four Seasons sort of hospitality approach. They always have every resident's photo in there, which is really something we try to take after. We then say, describe yourself below. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm a great tenant. I really am. And we do this because in competitive markets like Toronto, we do a lot of student housing in Kingston. They are truly competitive, and this gives them, the prospective tenants, an opportunity to really set themselves apart, which is something in a lot of applications people don't get to do. Why are you moving? I've got nothing. I don't like the cold. That works. This is just a good way to let them know that if they were evicted, you're thinking about that, right? So it's kind of one of those questions we have along the way. And then we ask just some standard application questions around left owing money. You know, have you ever been part of a landlord-tenant hearing? Have you ever been convicted of, I'll zoom in there, of a felony? Have you ever declared personal bankruptcy? Have you ever rented with us before? From here, this is where if they have pets, this is one of our clients, Oban Flats. They do some really cool purpose-built rental here in Toronto. They are big animal people, pet people, and they wanted us to include this so you could have that personal touch with their animal at the end of the day, right? They've seen some weird animals come through like ferrets, snakes, rats, but it's kind of a cool way to do that, right? So we'll say cat, Mr. Whiskers, he's 100 pounds, and he has a green tail. Cool. So if they have a vehicle, we don't ask if they want parking up front. This is a sneaky thing we worked on with the landlord. We ask if they have a vehicle, because if they do have a vehicle and they don't want to pay for parking, it's a good way to get the license plate up front. And then if there's a mysterious vehicle in one of your visitor stalls, you can go through the logs and say, okay, it's that guy, and you can just shoot him a message. We'll say Tesla. Once you go through the leasing, that's where you actually include the parking on there. We'll say green. And now we ask for the current address, which we need for the credit check. So basically we use a tool called Google Autocomplete. It's super quick. It just fills out everything immediately. If they're a student, it just goes into the student section. If they're not a student, it goes into their professional section. Since the student section is a bit quicker and we're getting close on time, I'm just gonna hop in there. So we'll say Queen's University. Six team members from our company actually went to Queen's at one point or another, which is kind of a cool fun fact about YUHU. But none of us knew each other there at the time, so another fun fact. Say 2020. And then work experience before, we'll say no. This is where we have automated landlord and personal references. So I'll show you what a landlord reference means. We'll say Henry Hutton. So basically what happens here is right when I hit next, an automatic email will be sent to the landlord with just 4 matter-of-fact questions. You also get the phone number, so if you do want to call them up, but this is a really good way to speed up the process. We've gotten a lot of inbound sales opportunities from that email, from people being like, oh, what's this cool reference checking tool? So it's a nice way to really expedite processes. Let's go here, 7,000. So you need 1 reference in our tool. Yes, okay. And then we'll skip the personal just for the time's sake. And then this is where, I'll probably need to throw that up there. So this is where we ask for proof of, I'm just not on my computer again, so I realized, but those are my presentations. So this is where we ask for 2 pieces of documentation, ID, and then proof of income, pretty straightforward stuff. And then from here, what's going to happen is they will have access to the applicant portal. And so what's going to happen here is once this applicant, this is pre-showing by the way, so once this applicant has completed this, you as the leasing agent will get an email saying, okay, they've applied, and I'll flip back over there and I'll show you what that looks like. So you'll know going into the, and I'm going to say fast forward, we're going to be at the showing for the next piece, but bear with me. Oh, we got two here. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so as the applicant, you're going to, or sorry, as the landlord, you're going to get an email saying that they've applied. And then once you go into their line item in the building, you're going to see their application details, pending approved. This is what the workflow did. So this, we right now in the QA environment, we run these fake credit checks. But basically what the workflow would do, based on your rules, it would let you know if they're approved, flagged, or rejected. So this is a really nice way to quickly get the leasing done. So if, let's pretend we're now at the showing, you can click Create Lease. And basically, since this was a pre-lease, or not a pre-lease, a pre-application, they weren't tied to any specific unit. But basically, let's say your leasing staff was on an iPad. Let me get up here. Basically, what they do is they just flip through here. They know the lease terms. A lot of the information is done through the application, which is really nice. We pre-populate your Schedule A. So we have the building show Schedule A, which is the Section 15, as I'm sure a lot of you know. You go through here, we'll have that lease pricing already in there. Rental incentives is bigger in sort of our student housing in Alberta markets, but we still have that in there. This is from the Ontario Standardized Lease. I don't know if you guys know it. This is where your service and utilities are ticked. We do that in the back end while we're onboarding you. So all of that is boilerplate from the properties. So each time you do a lease, you don't need to redo it. It'll just come up for each property as it should be. Then we have a welcome package. I don't have anything in there, but basically a welcome package is a way for you to send information about the property 2 weeks or however long you want. We boilerplate, we do 2 weeks. Or if it's within the 2 weeks of move-in, they'll get it immediately. And it's a nice way to say, hey, welcome to the property. These are the details about how you should be living here. This is the final lease review. And then basically I'm going to press next. And what this is going to do is this is going to create, so what that just did, I'm going to scroll down back to here. What that just did is created the lease, or it's creating right now. So since we're at the showing with this tenant right now that pre-applied, I'm not going to send them the lease, which is something you can do. But I'm going to do an in-person lease signing. So if you see here, it just became a sign in person. And let's say they came with a friend or their girlfriend and they wanted to add an applicant, but they hadn't applied through there. They can add the applicant here, and we can do an application right here to add them in and vet them through our screening process, so they don't need to go through that whole process like we just did. So what we're going to do is an in-person lease signing. This is going to create the Ontario Standardized Lease with all of the information we just went through. And basically, it's as simple as, I'm going to go back into that iPad view because typically the field agents, like for Avenue Living, they have tablets and they're just doing this. They're just banging leases out on the go with the tablet. So all you really need to do is, so I'll just show you the utilities, information, services and utilities. All of that was what you saw earlier. But all you need to do is press start. It'll bring you down to where you need to sign. We've built out our own e-signature tool because we didn't want to work with EchoSign or DocuSign to eat at our margins at the end of the day. And this is up to the PPTA standards and Canadian e-signature laws. Basically, you can just sign with your finger, move on to the next, have the tenant sign as well. It's Campbell, leasing to Campbell. Conflict of interest maybe. But, and then voila, you have a completed lease. And that applicant will now be naturally onboarded into the tenant portal, which I'll quickly show you now because we have 5 minutes to go here. I'm just going to log out of this. Bear with me while I just, a lot of screens open. So I'm going to quickly show you. Uh-oh. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you the tenant portal here. And this is what we've worked on with CapREIT. So we're rolling this out across their portfolio. We have a number of other clients using this day to day. Sorry, just this very bizarre email to log in. So basically, okay, so this is what our tenant portal looks like. So when an individual comes with YUHU, you'll see it's white labeled. You see their logo up there. They'll have their rental amount. If they have an upcoming payment, they can do so via credit card. So I'll just use my really secure fake credit card number. It's a test number. They can pay via credit card, which you do through Stripe. We also offer PAP through RBC Express. If they do sign up through PAP, we have an annual rent lottery where basically anyone who signs up will be open to winning $2,000 towards their rent at the end of the year, which is a really nice way to get uptake. You can also obviously create maintenance tickets. So if the tenant has some issues, they can just throw them in there, or photos. That'll go right to your maintenance team, depending on how you set it up, or your property manager. If they want to check out their lease details, they're right there. If they want to check their lease document, this is going to open a new window. But their Ontario standardized lease will just be right there. It's really the one-stop shop for everything. If they want to book amenities, we have some higher-end purpose-built rental with party rooms, guest suites. Ship Lake is using that, and we built that out with them. They also helped us build out this communities piece. So you can meet the Toronto Raptors. And if you RSVP, we'd like to celebrate, like I said. You can get free Leaf Seasons tickets. You can celebrate that as well. Free tenant ice cream for the tenants. And then you can also include your actual Twitter, which is what I did for the building show Twitter. So all in all, that's kind of an overview of our leasing and application sort of pre-leasing flow, and then our tenant portal. We do have a slew of other, obviously, applications. So we have maintenance, inspections, asset management, reporting. So if anyone wants to do a follow-up demo or meet with me after, we're happy to walk you through that. Our booth is at 1405 right by the entrance. But yeah, I think that's it. So I really appreciate everyone's time. And if you have any questions, you can come find me afterwards.